Tell me, lover, now that you made your change, was your soul rediscovered? Was your heart rearranged? Are you still taking pills in the morning? And did you lose that love?
For some reason, I keep trying to visit all the cities of programs that like I would have gone to had I not gone to Yale.
Well, you're here now, so that's all that matters, right?
You'll see the bee in the background. Anyways, if I ended up at U Chicago, I definitely would have extended my 4-year residency into 5 unintentionally because there's too much cool stuff. Shut up. But as much as this channel is supposed to be things about residency and medicine, this video is actually not about residency at all. I joke around with a lot of my friends that I say I have 2 full-time jobs, one as a resident doctor, and the second on this platform that over the past 4 years, just kind of with a lot of luck fell into my lap. And as much as a lot of the headlines have talked about physicians leaving, medicine for social media, I want to make a case for the reverse. And just hear me out for the entire video. Because everybody on this platform or any social media platform has to look themselves in the mirror at one point and realize that this is not forever. But before we talk about that, let's get a word from the sponsor of today's video, TrueLearn. I've said before numerous times on this channel, and I still stand by it, practice tests and practice questions are by far the most efficient and powerful way to prepare for your standardized exams, something medical training has a disappointingly large amount of. But in order to lighten the load and help you excel in your tests, I am proud to partner with TrueLearn, the sponsor of today's video. TrueLearn is a data-driven test prep resource with a 100% pass rate trusted by top institutions such as Stanford, Mayo, Harvard, and of course here at Yale. Their smart banks with questions written by content experts give you the tools to succeed on your crucial board exams throughout your medical career. As a medical student, they offer prep for all your COMLEX and USMLEs, including shelf exams, but it doesn't stop there. You have the same attention to detail and world-class practice test questions for PA, dental hygiene, MA, NP, nursing, OT, PT, speech therapy, pharmacy, and pharmacy tech licensing exams. For my residents in particular, you have all the resources for your in-training exams such as the ABA Basic for Anesthesia, ABSITE, ABEM, and much more. I've been using some of their smart banks to prep for my anesthesiology in-training exam in the spring, and I've been blown away by their performance analytics, real-time national benchmarking, and thorough explanations that help me to learn the most from even my most facepalm-inducing incorrect answers. With thousands of questions for each exam, you will be sure to have all the knowledge to knock your exams out of the park. If you would like to try TrueLearn, use code NDMD25 for $25 off your first TrueLearn subscription. Again, that's code NDMD25 for $25 off TrueLearn's incredible smart banks. Happy studying, best of luck to everyone prepping for exams as they watch or listen, and thank you so much to TrueLearn for sponsoring this video and supporting this channel. For better or worse, I do scroll on TikTok and Instagram a fair bit, and I came across this video from a fellow creator, Presro, who's a psychiatry resident who I absolutely love his videos. Preston, you're great. But it really piqued my attention because he says this.
Did you guys see all the influencers that are quitting recently? ICU Doc said he's no longer doing content.
I will no longer be making any social media content from this point forward. It's just not my time anymore.
Live Laugh X Lab is taking a hiatus.
As much as I want to show the inner workings of being a resident, to emphasize how none of us are alone in our struggles, to be an advocate and stand up for what I believe in, I ultimately have to remember my future is more important.
In the context of fellowship applications. And a part of me is like, yeah, I get it. Like with Kimberly's situation, I think there's a lot of implied flack that she's receiving behind the scenes. It takes a lot to be perceived on the internet. It's wild how one anonymous comment can cut through the noise and stick with you. Being perceived as a burden. It's the truth. The reason the ICU doc gave was its time, which is kind of vague and unhelpful, but I think ultimately he felt he had a story that he wanted to tell, which was being this voice of reason in the nebulous pandemic, whereas other residents or trainees have a different goal, which is really kind of normalizing or in a way whistleblowing how terrible the training system is, and that gets stomped a lot. On one hand, as Americans, we celebrate being individuals, but also the tallest nail gets struck hardest with the hammer. I think one of the reasons why I've been able to have more longevity with my content is because I don't make it around one thing, and I think I stumbled into that success. I've always had this page be about Presro and my eclectic personality, and while a lot of you may have followed me for one thing or another, you end up coming to my page and we're making espresso or something like that. But then again, most people know me as a psychiatrist, and it's either the skits or the education that you guys follow me for, and I think I dragged you along for these hobbies, so who knows, maybe it's all just luck that I haven't burnt out at this point. The punchline is making content's hard, being perceived on the internet sucks, and then being in these like hyper judged, almost shrewd spaces like medicine make it worse. So while you have this idea where you want to normalize and make things okay, you also get put under a ton of scrutiny for kind of a lot of crappy reasons.
And I sat there after watching the video kind of perplexed, because I feel like there's a reason why so many of my friends are people I've only met in person once or twice. It's because I've met them throughout this weird course of social media over the past 4.5-ish years. There's a reason why some of my closest friends are these other creators on the platform who are also in medicine, because nobody understands how insane you are to be working 2 full-time jobs as somebody else working 2 full-time jobs, one as a physician or a medical student and the other as a creator. And so there's this very select few where that message in Preston's video just hits you straight in the guts. And it's something as a consumer of such, I hate the word, medfluencer, medical creator content. Sometimes it's misunderstood, or maybe our feelings about how we approach doing this and the risks associated with it aren't publicized. Let me explain. Over the years, I've coined this term that I've shared with all my creative friends of the law of creative work on social media, which implies the harder you work and the more care and effort you put into a piece that you are putting out, the worse it'll do. And in the same thread, if you just put out something that you just don't care too much about and you just like whatever, that's usually the one that just pops off and goes viral. Anybody who's tried to grow on social media, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And whenever anybody wants to build a social media page, I always ask them first, like, what is your goal? What is your mission? And for a lot of people in the medical space, it does have a bigger purpose. Usually it falls into a bucket of either advocacy, education, or like Preston said, kind of this humanization sort of deal where we try to display physicians and medical students in a way that people can understand that you can leave the hospital and in fact are allowed to have hobbies and a life outside of medicine, contrary to the general public belief that like all you're good for is serving patients, and that's about it. Kind of a unfortunately shut up and dribble situation. And a lot of people who are on social media and gain a following accomplish one of those goals, especially in medicine. It's a super, super small community, and I'm so grateful to know a lot of people in this community personally and just through the grapevines. But I guarantee you there is one shared frustration out of all of us. Ask anybody who is making stuff on social media in the medical space, they will tell you they wish they never really started in this medical niche. And they want more than anything to break out of it. Now, I joke with Rachel Souther all the time that she's basically a lifestyle creator who just happens to be a doctor. And it's true. Rachel, I know you're watching, it's true. If she uploaded a 20-minute video of her eating a bowl of soup, it would probably get 15,000 views. Easy. And I'm not saying that's what everybody wants, but what I can tell you is everybody just wants to make videos and create art about things not related to medicine or residency and still feel okay about it. Social media platforms always do this weird thing with their algorithms where you get boxed into a niche when you start out, and when you gain your following, you're just further boxed into this niche where if you keep it up for many, many years, especially like myself and a lot of other people on the platform, you will never be able to dig yourself out of that hole. That platform has labeled you as a medical creator, and so literally if it doesn't have medicine, med school, doctor, or it addresses some of the top issues like burnout, the most recent public health crisis, like unfortunately your video is just not going to do well. And even though all of us try to not think about the metrics, we're all data-driven people. We practice evidence-based medicine. And so when our evidence is, hey, views are going down, people don't seem to be liking this video, our natural thought process is, what are we doing wrong? And the answer is, more often than not, nothing. We're not doing anything wrong. But is it okay if I post a little clip of a trip I went to? Or is it okay if I talk about my hobbies like coffee or golf? According to these algorithms, not really. So we all hit this phenomenon where our one goal was to humanize physicians, and now we're in a box where every single video we make or any kind of content we make has to be about being a physician. And that gets really, really, really tiring for a lot of reasons. Unlike a lot of people, I don't see social media as an extension of my ability to get patients or gain patients. I'm an anesthesiology resident. I'm not gonna have to ever hunt for patients like my surgery colleagues will have to do, or my primary care colleagues will have to do, where anything they put out will be eventually a direct representation of their careers and their patients' trust in them. So for me, that's completely out of the question. For people who are really big educators on the platform, the internet is an ugly place. You can't teach someone who doesn't want to be taught. And even the strongest of wills will get tired after a while. There's only so many times you can talk to a brick wall before you just realize you have to walk away from it. And then anybody who is trying to humanize physicians constantly walk this tightrope. To be perceived is a burden, and to be perceived in medicine is like having a red dot pointed at your forehead 24/7. First and foremost by your superiors, second most by the administration of whatever hospital or program you're in, third most and most importantly, your patients. And if that's on your shoulders for the 12 hours that you're working, and you come home and you attempt to make videos while still having that burden on your shoulders too, because you carry the word physician to your name, I don't blame anyone for just calling it quits. In fact, has anyone seen Dr. Cellini in a while? One of my first mentors and one of my first friends on the platform. Last video was a year ago. Oh, and his Instagram? Retired creator. Dude was one of the pioneers on the platform, has twice the amount of subscribers that I have, twice the amount of Instagram followers that I have, actually more than that. Why'd he call it quits? Because to be perceived is a burden, and when you have a wife and a new kid like he does, that is a burden that those who you love don't deserve. Now, I'm many years from having my own family, but I watched Casey Neistat basically grow up through like the late 2010s, and even he had to put a pause and slow down on all the videos and step away from the platform that he built, because sometimes you just want to step away from the camera and just enjoy life without, one, having the need to post about it all the time, two, put the camera in the face of people that you care about. Also, three, honestly, sometimes life is just boring. It's boring sometimes. And there's a fun in people who have a creative background, and especially photography, videography, to make boring life feel or seem exciting. But to do that weekly for years, there's only so much you can spice things up. And for those who have stepped away from their platforms and you're questioning like, why? They've invested so much time and energy into building it. Why would they just let that go? But the truth is, anything creative work that we're all doing on this platform, the fact that I can press that button and hit record and then press a button on my computer and hit upload is a privilege and a blessing. And it's also something I don't have to do, and something I've had to come to terms with multiple times over the past 4 years, is that if I don't upload another video for the rest of my life, guess what? The platform still moves on. You're gonna find somebody else to watch, and that's okay. So in my current chapter of life, I'm in residency. I'm an intern in residency, and my life is boring. I work 6 days a week right now, 12-hour shifts on average, and on my one day off, which sometimes is a random Tuesday, the best I can do is do my laundry, do my dishes, meal prep for the rest of the week, and like clean and vacuum the place. All things that are just normal. And being a resident doctor at a very, very busy and very challenging program, I don't have the time or energy, and really it's unethical to be bringing the camera everywhere in a clinical setting. There's a lot of work to be done with getting the patients better. There's a lot of thinking that has to be done with very complex pathology, especially at a center like Yale. And sure, we joke around and we have fun in the resident workroom, but all of us are working. We're doing stuff, and we don't have time to set up a camera and just chat. And honestly, you shouldn't. While you're there, you're a doctor. Take care of the patients with a smile on your face. Put the camera away, and then maybe afterwards debrief somewhere. But to me, as somebody with a filmmaking background, I feel like that's not as fun for you to watch, and it's certainly not as fun for me to edit, and that's not the kind of storytelling I think you deserve coming to this channel. So I don't really want to make those videos much more. I miss the traveling, I miss the interviews to highlight some incredible people and get a sense of like their thoughts and their experiences. But as a resident doctor, my time is not my own right now, and I can't travel and meet and do the things that I did in medical school, because right now my life is boring. A lot of residents' lives are boring, and the few moments that we get to ourselves, sometimes you just don't really want to film it because I just want it to be mine. So if the videos become sparse and change a little bit in the next several months, sorry if it's not what you guys want. And maybe at that point, I don't know how much longer I'm gonna be doing this thing. But until then, can I at least share some clips of my trip to Chicago with my friends? No, maybe. I'm gonna do it anyways. Thanks for watching. If you don't want to watch it, you can click off now. It's fine. You won't hurt my feelings. All anybody really wants is to just make videos they're proud of and they're happy about, no matter the topic. You know what? If it doesn't do well, just so be it. At least you made the art. Somebody out there needs to see it.